For over a century, this was downtown Santa Clara. It was the place where we welcomed home our veterans after wars, where we'd binge on a bag of Spanish cookies at Wilson's with our bikes unlocked in front, where we held our parades, celebrated Christmases together as a city, where we met old friends, and some of us had our first kisses in that theater balcony. In all, there were 156 retailers in downtown Santa Clara. Signs like Wade's, Bondi's, Strauss Ritz, Toledo's, and the Santa Clara Theater lit up the night. It was one of the most beautiful of South Bay's small downtowns, but its beauty and that of its neighboring quad was entirely due to its original plan. Check out this 1866 map. It shows how precisely planned everything was, because it had to be. It was 31 years before the first car entered California. People needed efficient planning because they walked to wherever they needed to be. Main Street drew people into Santa Clara's first park. Not one but two trolleys serviced downtown, all walking distance to the train station. The theater and bowling alley were on the blocks next to the students. Its banks were placed safely in the downtown belly. In 2018, one urban planner said, "Santa Clara's street grid is as elegantly planned as Savannah, Georgia." Check out this picture. All the retail windows were the same height, inviting people in, and it was planned that way. Each of the stately homes in the residential quad area that surrounded downtown were exactly the same distance to the sidewalk, all planned perfectly. For over 100 years, it was the heart of Santa Clara. Many in this room know what happens next. Even though 83% of Santa Clarans in 1960 wanted the downtown spared, the councils of 1957 through 64 knew better. What followed was a litany of illegal backroom meetings, citizen lawsuits, broken promises, and ultimately broken hearts. By 1966, downtown Santa Clara was completely demolished. What came next was almost as humiliating to Santa Clara as being the only city in the nation without a downtown. Federal funding was lost, and plan after plan failed. In 1977, the last developer abandoned downtown, leaving a dust bowl of empty lots behind. An absolute lack of downtown planning replaced the once meticulously planned city center. Desperate councils panicked at the Dust Bowl and began the parcel-by-parcel development that has continued for 50 years in the downtown and in the city. This panic planning enabled strip malls to be built over Franklin Street and a courthouse and apartment housing right on top of downtown's Main Street. The result is a quilt of architecturally incoherent buildings that have absolutely nothing to do with each other, separated by acres of unused, cracking parking lots. To quote the Mercury News, "No land use decision in the last half-century has damaged the urban fabric of a city more than Santa Clara's decision to tear down its downtown." The result has no coherence, no center, and no charm. And the distinguished homes of the surrounding quad were not immune. Santa Clara lost many to ill-conceived, bland apartment complexes which replaced historic Victorian-era homes. But then things changed. In 2016, 50 years after the last downtown building fell, Councilmember Debbie Davis formed the Downtown Santa Clara Revitalization Committee. That same year, the all-volunteer citizens group Reclaiming Our Downtown was formed and grew from 5 members in their first meeting to today over 4,500 citizens. We began educating and surveying the public on the downtown and what they wanted. Soon after, the Old Quad Residents Association joined the effort. Reclaiming Our Downtown core members then began studying cities that had returned exceptional downtowns and interviewing those city officials to understand how they did it. Cities like Chattanooga, West Palm Beach, Mountain View, Fort Worth, Ventura, Tucson, Redwood City, and many others. And all of these cities utilize the same 2 tools, a precise plan fortified by form-based code. 2 years later, in 2018, the city of Santa Clara took a huge step forward to returning the heart back to the city by approving the Downtown Community Task Force, the hiring of WRT and Sergeant Town Planning to create a downtown precise plan and form-based code for Santa Clara. After 5 years and 44 meetings in which the Downtown Task Force, WRT, and city staff took hundreds of hours of comments from the community, the precise plan and form-based code is now ready. In these 4 years, the state has been able to override local zoning if there's not what's called objective design standards. The downtown form-based code provides these objective design standards and therefore is a golden ticket to the city of Santa Clara. But there is a catch. The chair of Santa Clara's Planning Commission put it best this month.
Something that becomes the soul for the city, but there are a few must-dos for that to happen. With all of the efforts here to all of the comments made, it is absolutely imperative for this to be enforced. It has to be enforced to the words, and we've seen many projects come through, and we've all been there because we didn't have this word of the specific plan to affirm.
The city must completely understand and enforce the plan and form-based code. We have seen developers attempt their interpretation of a downtown building and because of a lack of code, forget vital necessities for the building's retailers, leaving nothing but empty storefronts. We even have current attempts to cherry-pick certain parts of the precise plan without implementing it in its entirety. With your vote to approve the plan and form-based code, Santa Clara will see a downtown. But will this downtown be a Sunnyvale or a destination point? This is entirely up to how well management and staff understands what they have and how they implement it. We deeply thank Andrew Crabtree for his many years of dedicated service to the city. The 2024 opening of the Director of Community Development gives Santa Clara an excellent opportunity to hire a director who has experience in implementing form-based code. There are many candidates who have this form-based code experience, as well as getting a housing element approved and working with state and federal sources to get Santa Clara much needed funding that other cities are seeing right now. In closing, we thank all of you for keeping your doors and hearts open throughout these last 7.5 years. If we continue on this path and implement and execute what we have, Santa Clara will not just have a downtown, but a destination point which will be known throughout the United States.